Hey, what's up guys, and welcome back to Anime King 2. And today I'm going to be giving you part 11 of What If Godlike Naruto Was Sent to the Marvel Universe. Remember to get this one to 100 likes as usual. Share this to all of your friends in your social media platform. And also guys, don't forget to go ahead and check out the brand new episode over on Anime King of What If Naruto Awaken His Memories and Abilities at the Land of Wave, and enjoy that guys. And remember, if you're new, yes, I indeed have 4 channels: Anime King, Anime King 2, Anime King 3, and Anime Prince, which I post What If on every single day. Yes, you heard that correctly, every single day for you guys to enjoy. So go ahead and click that red subscribe button and become a part of the Anime King family. And thank you for all of your help and your support. Remember to comment down below and tell me if you're new. I'll be planning talking back to all of you. And also, remember to turn on the bell notification to see exactly when I post. So without further ado, what do you say we jump right into this new episode? Begin now guys. So, the last part we left off, Naruto and Natasha finally had time to talk, as they spoke about his immortality. As she wanted to, however, Naruto shut that thought down, as he didn't want her to be immortal. To him, the thought was already suffering enough, and the last thing he wanted to do was put her through pain. To knowing that everyone that you love would eventually die away, well, the thought was a haunting one. However, she had an idea, as she remembered him talking about the Uzumaki marriage thing. If the both of them were to do that, she would share in his immortality. And also, if she didn't like it, she could, well, stop. However, Naruto told her 3 years, as he wanted them to see if things will actually work out before he even started to even think of that. As she saw that was reasonable enough, so she agreed. So with that, they relaxed and enjoyed the rest of their vacation. Some time passed, they were back, as Jessica was there as well, as Natasha sat down with Naruto as he told her about his early childhood. It was now that she understood why he was so clammy to talk about it. Even Jess was a bit disturbed by the things that he went through when he was younger. He was just a child, how could they do that to him? As she came in the room and she fell asleep with all of them. Afterwards, Naruto had made his way towards Tony and Pepper's place, as Rudy was there as well. As Naruto told him about Afghanistan, as Naruto got a bodyguard for them to carry along. His name was Frank, as the man was a military power machine. As Tony agreed with that, as Naruto made his way back, that is when the Sorcerer Supreme decided to show up. The Ancient One appeared, as she and Mordo was there. They tried to stop Naruto as they ended up holding him, as they took him to the mirror dimension, as Naruto ended up slaughtering half of them. The Ancient One was forced to release him, otherwise he would end up wiping all of them away. As Mordo was the last one to leave, as Naruto simply poofed away, showing that was a clone the entire time. The real Naruto did not even feel like getting involved. How dare she told him not to get involved with saving Tony. If the universe really had one man to focus on, well, something was really wrong then. So with that, Tony got into a lot of shit, as he ended up getting knocked out. The shrapnels were going into his heart, however, he was saved by the doctor. And Frank was there as well. So with that, Naruto ended up showing up after Tony remembered that he had the sheet, as Naruto flashed them all out of there. However, the kidnapping was international, so they couldn't just show up. There would be so much people wanting answers, so they had to go back. Tony, from the night that he and Naruto had taken down the mobsters, had this idea in mind, and now this was the best time to use it. As he started up the project, the suit of armor. It would take a couple of hours. Once that was done, he would have Naruto flash them back towards the location where Tony could handle it himself. So yeah guys, basically let's be left off. You guys can switch across the play, check it out for yourself, and we say we jump right into this new episode without wasting more time guys. Begin now guys. At Natasha's safe house in New York. The date was February 13, 2009. As Naruto appeared in the living room, he immediately went towards the bedroom, making sure not to wake up Jessica. As he noticed light under the bottom of the bathroom door, making his way he knocked. "Naruto?" said Natasha from inside. "Yeah, it's me, Haim," said Naruto. "Wait a minute. I'm getting out in a sec," she said. A moment later she stepped out, in full combat gear. "Good thing you're here," she said. "I need a ride." "Why? Where?" he asked. As he followed her out, Fury got the report about Star kidnapping. He wants everyone to report in. "Can I come?" Naruto asks. "I'll be invisible, I promise." As he gave her the puppy dog eyes, as Natasha thought about how many security protocols she was gonna break. However, she couldn't resist that look. Alright, she said aside, "Come on." As a big grin came on his face, he seemed rather happy, as he held her hand before. They were gone. Time skip. Triskelion, Washington DC. They appear at Natasha's office. She took a few seconds to recollect herself. It was a whole lot better than her first experience. "You're going to watch only, don't do anything. I don't want Fury to have an aneurysm," she said. As Naruto nodded before he formed a single hand sign as he slowly disappeared from her view. Once she couldn't see him anymore, she walked out and she headed to the meeting room. It took a few minutes of going around the building, however she eventually reached her destination. As she went in without knocking, there was already a large group of people inside, including Phil and Clint. As she made her way towards them, "Any news?" she asked. Of course she could have just asked Naruto, but it would have made it a lot harder to lie if she knew anything beforehand. Around 10 AM local, Tony Stark convoy from the air base to Cabo had been ambushed. Everyone's dead, but accounted for except for two. Tony Stark and an unidentified tech. All signs point towards an inside job. However, there is no proof except for three things. Somehow all choppers are in use or either out of commission. Then the convoy was guarded by rookies. Not even one of them has been in the sand for about 3 months. Finally, there was no patrols even though the roads should be secure. Phil answered, "That's all I know though," he said. "I think that is more than enough," said Clint. As Fury entered the room, with Hill right behind him, as he walked inside. As every chatter died down, as you have heard Tony Stark, convoy was ambushed on the way to Cabo. Preliminary reports indicated they took Tony Stark and someone pretending to be a maintenance officer for the Jericho missile. The tech is now identified as Sergeant Frank Castle. "Force Recon," said Fury. "Force Recon? Why is he posing as a tech?" asked Clint. "We have no idea what he's doing there. What we know is he's supposed to be on vacation after coming home from his tour in Afghanistan. We only identify him through facial recognition." Natasha had an idea how Castle got roped in, however, she will not say it now. "Search parties have already been sent with no results. That is where we come in. I want all of you to find any chatter of where this is happening. Look into the background of any signs of any inside job. I also want you to look into Sergeant Castle himself. Coulson, you're going to Obadiah Stan to assess the possibility of Stark making a deal to save his life. Do the same thing with Virginia, Potts too. Barton, you're going to Afghanistan with a strike team on you. Make sure to bring a medic just in case anything went awry. Romanoff, work your contacts to find anything at all." Natasha's order of course was a cover for her to extract information on Naruto, as Fury already accepted the fact that Naruto knows a lot more than he's letting on. Fury was about to shout for them to move until someone knocked on the door. He gestured for the closest agent to open it. It was another agent with a package. The man came inside and handed over to Fury. Fury looked at the package as he took it. As Natasha wanted to slap her face, she told Naruto not to do anything. "We scanned it 3 times to make sure it was clean," the agent said. As Fury opened it, instead of any file or anything, there was just a piece of paper. He picked it up and read, "Don't worry, I got this, Baldy." Maria Hill looked at the paper over her shoulder, as she had to bit her lips so she wouldn't laugh. Fury dropped the paper down. Inside the box he glared at everyone in the room. "What are you waiting for, Christmas? Go," he said. He was angry. Once all the people that he trusts was left in the room, he stared at Natasha. "I'm gonna kill your boyfriend," he said. He was truly pissed off. Moments later he had all three of them in one room, as he ordered Hill to burn the box. "What do you know, Romanoff?" he said. "Too much," she said, "but too little about this," explained, said Fury. She took a second to formulate an answer. This is one of the downsides of dating Naruto. Fury knew that she knows stuff, and that was bugging the hell out of him. There are times that she thinks that Naruto dated her, just to piss off Fury as well. Let me start my way from the end, and work my way back because the first part would take over the entire conversation. Just remember the whole sorcerer incident was stressing the hell out of her. We just got into bed around 3 AM when Naruto said something about Tony being in trouble, and he then vanished. 3 AM? What the hell are you doing up at 3 AM when you're on vacation? Said Clint. An idea popped into his mind as he suddenly backtracked. You know what? I don't want to know, he said. Get your mind out of the gutter, Clint, said Natasha with a scolded look. However, it soon turned into a grin. We finish at 12. I need my rest, you know. Clint was too slow to cover his ears, as he didn't want to hear about the sex life of someone that he considered to be a sister. As Phil remained as stoic as ever, with his patented smile, however, Natasha could see a little bit of pink dusting on his cheeks. Fury cleared his throat as he got their attention. Any guess what he knows, and what he went to do? Either he had someone looking over Stark, or Natasha pulled out a Harashin kunai. He had something like this, and he was able to call for Naruto. As she placed it back in her holster, ever since she figured out what those knives do, she never went anywhere without it. As for what he did after he left, I have no idea. He might have rescued him, or he just went to get some intel. When he came back an hour ago, I just had him bring me here. Then he went again, said Natasha. Fury rubbed his forehead. The one thing he hated was being left in the dark, and Naruto was a goddamn black hole. As he typed until a picture came up on the screen, as he turned it to show Frank Castle. How about him? Do you know anything why one of the best, Force Recon, is doing undercover bodyguard work for Stark? Asked Fury. Either Stark knew there was a threat to his life and hired the best guy, or someone else knew and sent the same guy. Either way, Naruto is more than likely involved, said Natasha. Fury thought about what they should do. With Naruto taking point, the whole thing would be resolved. However, sitting back would not be an option. My orders remain the same. I don't want Peggy Carter to rise from the grave because we didn't do anything to save her godson. As Natasha almost went into a coughing fit, hearing what he just said about Peggy. Now, we're done talking about the Stark fiasco. Let us circle back about what you said about your first part of your story. That one. I really don't want to report about this, but this is something you should know, boss. Just spit it out, Romanoff, he said, as she took a breath. We were sleeping till around 2:30 when I felt a feeling of someone watching us. I reached for the knife underneath my bed and started to look around. That's when I saw two people standing there, at the foot of the bed, an African-American man and a bald European woman. I threw my knife, however it just bounced off after they created circular sparkling shields. Another one of Naruto's weird friends, Clint asked. That's what I thought as well, as I woke Naruto up. After a struggle to get him up, I followed them towards the living room. They introduced themselves as Carl Mordo and the Ancient One. Fury turned the screen back to him as he typed in the first name. Carl Mordo. It says here the guy died 18 years ago. Is this him? Yes, exactly. But he hasn't aged a day. What else did they say? The Ancient One had a message. Don't save Tony Stark, said Natasha. Of course Naruto did not take it well, so he led me back to the bedroom. However, before we got inside, Mordo used some kind of rope to grab Naruto's arm. He told me to get in the room, and everything after that is just a second-hand story from Naruto. He said that they brought him to another dimension, and they tried to trap him there, however it did not work. Can you give me a summary of this? Because it seems like you're trying to say that magic is real, said Clint. Sorcerers visit Naruto to stop him from saving Tony Stark, because they say the fate of the universe depends on it, said Natasha. You know, said Fury, I missed it when the world greatest thing is a man that could lift 5 times his body weight. He sighed as he looked back towards Natasha. Any idea how to find them? As she thought about it until she came up with something. Only one thing stood out. Their robes. They have Asia influence. If it was me searching, I start looking anywhere in South or East Asia. That's a huge range, said Fury. Well, a good thing I'm not the one looking, she said, with a smirk. Time skip. Tony Mansion. When Naruto got back there, he saw Pepper berating Tony, while Yusin and Frank was just sitting on the other side of the table. "Did I miss something?" Naruto whispered. "Not much. She's been here for 3 minutes," said Frank. "What happened anyway?" said Naruto. "Tony cheer force buddy," said Frank. "Rody?" said Naruto. "Yes, Rody. He called Stalk Girl over the computer voice thing, saying that we've been napped. So that alerted the redhead that we were here. So she ran down here and started to flip the hell out," said Frank, as Yinsen and Naruto snickered a bit, as Naruto sat there enjoying the show. "I mean, how could you not tell me? You have a hole in your chest with a car battery sticking out of it. Isn't that enough to wake me up? You could have at least called Rody." "I almost had a heart attack," Pepper shouted. Her face was red. "I was gonna tell you when you woke up. I didn't know that you were gonna wake up because Rody called." As he then noticed Naruto. Besides, Naruto needed to bring us back. As Pepper turned her rage towards Naruto, giving Tony a breather. "What?" she said, stepping towards him. "Shit," said Naruto, as he had to step back because of the intensity of her glare. Frank and Yinsen decided to step away. "Why do you need to bring them back?" she shouted. Spit it out," she yelled. "Because he still needs to be rescued," said Naruto. "He's already here, right?" "What do you mean he still needs to be rescued?" "Well, I was the one that brought him here, and no one knows about me." Pepper gave him a confused look. "Come on, Peps. Don't tell me that you're not even a bit suspicious." Of course Pepper was suspicious. Naruto was suspicious. He gets in and out of everywhere he goes. And the entire endless pocket thing trick he does when pulling hundreds of toys out of his pocket for Morgan. As she reasoned with herself that Naruto was a super agent sent by the government agency to protect the family, since Stark is one of the backbone of America's economy. It kind of worked out too, because when the both of them first met, they took down a crime syndicate that was working in Tony Casino. The next time he came back was a few months after Morgan, as she thought that the government wanted to help them keep Morgan safe. Naruto helped with rooting on spies support her theory, adding the fact that he said that he's dating some super spy. It's a lock-in answer. "You're a spy, right?" she said. "Hell no," said Naruto. "Except for my time, of course." Getting back on track, I'm not a spy. I'm just a guy on vacation forever. "Ask Frank over there," said Naruto, pointing towards castle. "I met him on vacation in Afghanistan." Frank had to shake his head as he remembered that conversation. He had a migraine afterwards. "Sir, the fabrication is done. Both items are ready to come up," said Jarvis. "Go ahead, Jarvis. Put up the reactor first." As Tony looked towards Yinsen, "Come on, you help build it. You will help to place it in." "You realize I'm not that kind of doctor, don't you?" said Yinsen, as the floor opened up. As he saw the blue glowing cylinder rise up. "See this? This is the future," said Tony, as he picked up the miniature heart reactor and walked towards the reclining chair. As Yinsen walked over, he was excited to hold something like the heart reactor. "What are they gonna do?" said Pepper. She was nervous. "He is gonna change the magnet to something more portable and powerful. He needs more juice for the next part of his plan." "What's the next part?" she said. "Now that is a surprise," said Naruto. "You don't have to wait long though, since they're almost done. Jarvis, you can pull up the next one." "Of course, sir." As everyone saw Project Knight, as a part of the floor opened up, a hulking behemoth of metallic armor. They can see guns and canister placed around the suit. Tony walked up to it and inspected all around. A lot cruder than what I would like, however. What can you do in just 6 hours? "Tony, what is that?" Pepper said. "This will make sure we get out of the cave hole," said Tony, as he pressed the front part. As it opened up, as he walked in and closed the panel. "What are you doing?" said Pepper. "I'm going to wear this, and we're gonna walk out of the cave. Frank will be right behind me, shooting at everything not friendly, while Yinsen will hold back." As the suit started up, as he walked towards Pepper, who was holding in her tears. "Don't worry, Peps," he said. "This thing," as he tapped the chest, "can stop half a case of 50 caliber machine gun rounds. It will hurt for sure, but I'll be alright." Pepper gave a small nod as she tried to hug him, however the armor made it a hard task. So he lifted the helmet and leaned in as he gave her a kiss. As he then opened the wall, showing the guns. "I thought you got rid of that," said Pepper. "Good thing I didn't," he said. "Take your pick," he said, as Frank walked towards the wall and started scanning it. As he started pulling down guns, knife and mags. As he handed over a Uzi and handgun towards Yinsen, once he got closer. "We need a bag. Food and water as well. We might wander a bit around the desert until a rescue team can find us." "Don't worry," said Naruto, as he reached behind him and pulled out 3 military bags and 3 duffel bags. As he tossed them on the floor, they were full. Yinsen walked over and opened one of them, as it was emergency food and water. The duffel bag is for anything you might need, said Naruto as he reached behind him. And also this, as he pulled out 3. Top of the line bulletproof vests. Just save the last one for Tony after all the chaos. As they all got suited up, as Tony walked over to Pepper once they were done. We'll be back in 3 days to a week. Don't worry, Pep. I'll come back, as he gave her another kiss, before he walked over towards Yinsen and Frank. Don't worry, Pepper. I'll watch over them. If they're not found in a week, I'll lead Rody to where they are, said Naruto as he gave her a hug, reassuring her. As he pulled out 3 Irish and Kuna and gave each of them one. As he gave that skeptical look. Keep that on you at all times. If there's any emergency, just throw it to the ground, said Naruto. At the bottom of the packs are red tags. Pull it. It will burn the whole thing. To make sure nothing linked back to me, said Naruto. Geez, said Frank. You're more paranoid than some spooks. As Naruto held on to them. Give them hell, he said, as all of them vanished, leaving a shocked Pepper standing there. Until Morgan is finally awake, as Pepper slowly left the garage, praying that they all come back alright. Some time before that, Mordo, is everyone okay? The Ancient One asks, as Mordo walked towards her. It's a weird feeling for her asking the well-being of her disciples. The brief contacts they had with the Fox, it blind the immediate future, making the Infinity Stone useless. Yes, Ancient One. Mordo said the small bow. No more additional casualties. I was the last one to leave. I also sent a few masters to retrieve the bodies, or as much as they can get, without alerting the Fox. Thank you, the Ancient One said. As the 2 of them stood there, seeing their colleagues ripped apart with the same threat, following you, is enough to stress anyone out, especially the apprentices who has never witnessed any real-life combat. As Mordo asks, can we fight him? Of course we can fight him, the Ancient One said. But that is not the real question you should ask. Can we win? I'm not sure, she said. There are just too many unknowns about him. However, from what I saw, we will need at least an army of masters specialized in combat to even have a winning chance. As Mordo had to agree, their first encounter with the Fox was a lot. As he was sure that the Fox was only playing with them, he was too calm through the whole thing. We should have marked the location of their apartment, Mordo said. They only found the Fox by 5 of their eldest masters sending their consciousness to the newly opened chakra network and finding anything out of place. A dangerous venture that cost them the life of 4 of the masters as they turned to stone. However, the last one was able to find an anomaly, a massive invisible force that alters space and time around it. It was like a living black hole. The master was able to open a location portal towards him before he turned into stone, as they did not find out where exactly the exact location was. All they know was that it was somewhere in New York. We can't do much about what happened in the past. We can only prepare for the future, the Ancient One said as a novice recruit came running towards them. The novice gave them a bow of respect before reporting. The masters that just came back from the mirror dimension wanted to report something. The Ancient One and Mordo looked at them with worry, as they wouldn't call for the Sorcerer Supreme unless it wasn't something significant. Tell them we will be right by, the Ancient One said. The novice bowed before leaving, as she released a sigh before she looked towards Mordo. Let's go. I want to know what news could be worse than having someone ripped apart. As she started to walk towards the hospital wing, when they finally entered the morgue, there was 27 tables with 27 bodies, covered by a white fabric that would preserve the body. This is everyone, the Ancient One asked. One of the masters spoke up. Yes, as far as we could get for the group. We counted 22 apprentices and 5 masters. We have retrieved most of their bodies, but some parts cannot be recovered like abdomen for most of them. At least we can give them a proper burial, the Ancient One said in a sad voice. What did you want to tell me about the bodies? She asked. We took this bag to gather all the valuables they might have. As he handed it over, the Ancient One opened it, however the bag had nothing inside. This is empty. That is when she noticed their rings. Where are the sling rings? She asked. They have nothing on them except for their clothing. Tell me, is there any sign of the Fox still in the mirror dimension? No. But we're not looking for him since we want to keep some distance away from him. We must assume that he can get out in the future if he's not out already, the Ancient One said. As that was truly disastrous if he can just bounce out of the mirror dimension. We need to make sure that the next timeline nexus must happen. What is the next timeline event? Ask Mordo. We need to wake the sleeping soldier. Captain America need to be found. Time skip. Obadiah Stane, he's a business mogul and the father figure of Tony Stark. A 65-year-old businessman. He was a friend and rival of Howard Stark, Tony's father, when the Starks died. He stand up as he helped the company stick together until Tony, the golden child, took over. Of course, he didn't like that he was now just receiving scraps from the multi-billion-dollar company. So he waited for his time, made connections and prepare moves for the future. The first thing Stane did was to build up a war chest for the eventual takeover. And being in weapon dealings, he has some people that are less favorable to do things that normal people would not. As Stane started to funnel some data to give buyers more than they asked for. As long as he got a cut of it, he sell to the lowest of the lows, corrupt government, tyrants, and tourist groups. The moment Stane had enough money to raise his stocks from 10% to 51%, to have a majority share in the company, he enacted the second stage in his plan, removing Tony Stark, and he had the perfect opportunity to do it. Tony tripped to the Afghanistan. He only heard about it through the grapevines. Tony has been keeping a distance with everyone for the last 3 years, even him. And then there was Raz, an African American man, 40 years old. He was the general of the 10 Rings, one of the most vicious terrorist group. Their job was to kill Tony Stark. He made sure that Tony was in the perfect spot for ambush. However, instead of killing him, they captured him and some guy that he didn't know about. Raz started to extort him for more money. When he found out how valuable the target was, Stane started to debate with himself whether he should pay and get rid of Raz, or tie up some loose ends. However, there was a problem. "What do you mean he got away?" he shouted into his encryption phone. "I didn't say got away, I said he disappeared," said Raza. "That's the same thing. I thought that you were at least somewhat competent. However, you're just as useless as the rest of them," Stane shouted. However, a secretary voice came to the speakerphone. "Mr. Stane, your 9 o'clock has arrived." As he rubbed his forehead, "Fix your goddamn mess, Raza. Kill him, and I'll double the deal," Triple said Raza. "Goddamn terrorists. Just do it," as he ended the call. He took a breath as he pressed the button. "Send him in." A few seconds later, a normal man just walked in. As he extended a hand, "Good morning, Mr. Stane. I am Agent Coulson from S.H.I.E.L.D. As Stane hid his panic as best he could, however, Phil noticed. "S.H.I.E.L.D. Never heard of it," he said, shaking the hand as he released it. "That's the way we like it," said Phil, as he adopted a more professional look. "I'm here to determine the possibility of Mr. Stark cutting a deal with his kidnapper to save himself. Have you already been informed that Mr. Stark has already been kidnapped?" Coulson continued. The man poured himself a drink as he took a swip. "Tony is a one-of-a-kind man. One that only come every century. No one can deny that. But there's something that comes with that. A stubbornness that no one can match. And a skill to piss some people off. So I'm saying it right here and now. There is no way that Tony would ever betray his country." As Phil stood there for a moment, just watching the man. "That's all I needed to hear." As Phil pulled out a card from his pocket. "You can call me using this number if you have anything else to say. I'll leave it to your business. Thank you for your time." As with that, Phil left. He quickly pulled out the phone. Once he was out of range, he spoke. He knows something. Time skip. In Afghanistan, the group appeared on a blind spot to the CCTV camera that was there. It was a rather tight fit because Tony was in his armor. However, it was time that they move out. As Naruto gave Tony one last speech before he began, as he grabbed the helmet, forcing to look at him. "Remember, show them no mercy because they will show you none. They rather kill you than expose themselves," said Naruto as he looked right in his eyes. "And if you want to marry Pepper in the future, which I would say you're crazy if you're not planning that, and if you want to get home to Morgan, you need to push your emotion aside temporarily and deal with this crap," said Naruto. "You got me?" As he finished, it was hard to make a soldier out of any man. However, the realization hit Tony as he knew that this must be done. "I'll be waiting outside, maybe a kilometer away." "Go wild," said Naruto as he vanished. leaving Tony, Frank, and Yinsen. Alright, said Tony as he stepped in front of them. As they started to hear shouting from outside, someone must have saw the massive armor appearing on the inside. Ready? He asks. I'm just waiting for your sorry ass, said Frank, as he cocked his rifle. I'm good, said Yinsen. Alright, let's wreck some terrorists, said Tony, as he marched in front of the door. As the door opened up as Tony fired, boom, the explosion blew away several terrorists. As Tony walked forward, however, he accidentally looked down as he saw the body parts. As Frank noticed, he knocked on the armor. Keep it together, man, panic later. His words worked as Tony started to march forward once again. As soon as the armor turned the corner, a rain of gunfire assaulted Tony as he started to fire the machine gun on his arm, as Frank was behind him firing as Yinsen stayed behind the corner. The terrorists, they didn't stand a chance in hell, as they moved in until they reached a large cabin with multiple corridors. As Tony had to backtrack as a hail of bullets, a large firing squad rained down on them as he backed off, not sure if his armor could handle all of that. However, Frank tossed 2 flash bombs towards the army of gunmen. Once the firing slowed down, Tony moved in as he started to blast them along with the fire thrower on his arm. Tony then noticed something in the corner of his eye. RPG, he shouted, as Frank quickly shot down the man. Tony flamethrower caused it to blow up, causing an entire collapse in the west corner. To the left. Go, go, said Frank. As the group moved out, Yinsen had to use his gun a few times to shoot a few of the enemies that they missed running through. As Tony could see the exit, and he was shocked at what he saw. He saw a few cases as his company logo was on it. The firing squad outside opened fire on them. However, this time Tony did not back down. He let the armor absorb it as Frank shoot down the man behind him. Our turn, said Tony, as he emptied his guns and flamethrower, as he destroyed all the weapons from his company. By the end of it all, there was only bodies and craters and collapsing cave remaining. As they finally stepped out, as Tony looked back towards all the destruction. That is just one of them, he said, thinking about how many more weapons are out there by Stark Industry controlled by terrorist groups. A few moments later, we need to stop, said Tony. The suit is already out of commission. He was surprised how long it lasted. As he stepped out of it, you're not just gonna leave it, are you, said Yinsen, as he handed over the extra backpack to Tony. As Tony took the bag and strapped it on. Yeah, but we can't just carry the whole thing. Besides, it will be a pile of metal scraps once I'm done with it. Frank was scanning the area with his gun sight, using the moonlight to check out if there was any trackers. Hey Frank, we have 10 minutes to get as far away from here as possible, said Tony, after flipping some button in the armor. As the 3 of them started to jog away. What the hell did you do? Asked Frank. I'm getting rid of it, said Tony, as he was a bit out of breath. The desert terrain was sapping his energy away. Did you install bombs in it? Asked Frank, realizing that was probably the only way that someone could get rid of something that quickly. Maybe, said Tony, a bit sheepishly. Are you crazy? We were shooting down, and yet you had a bomb inside the armor. What if that had backfired? Hey, if the suit exploded, it meant I would have died anyway because it wouldn't be able to handle the punishment. Tony defended. Frank sighed as he had to accept that logic. If the explosive is really inside the armor, a bullet would have only set it off if the armor had already been pierced. Hey, you're gonna want to see this, said Tony as he stopped, once they were far enough away. As the entire thing flew straight up in the sky, and it then exploded. The entire place was lit. You attach a rocket to it, Yinsen said, trying to catch his breath. Oh yeah, you gotta attach a rocket to everything you can. It's like being a genius and billionaire 101, said Tony, as his expression was dead serious. As Frank simply laughed. You made a flare on steroids, he said. Yep, now the rescue team will know our general direction. We just need to get ahead of every other terrorist team near here. Oh yeah, we still need to move around, said Tony. Don't worry about that for now. It's easier to deal with 1 or 2 guys than being stranded in the desert for 7 days, said Frank as he checked over the remaining ammo. Come on, it's time to set up camp. Yep, that's probably a good idea. As a voice popped out of nowhere, they spun around and aimed their gun towards it. Whoa, whoa, it's just me. as Naruto stepped out of the shadows. Hell, we almost shot you, said Frank. Meh, I would have lived, said Naruto. Where were you? I thought you would meet us once we got out of there, said Tony. I just cleaned up what you left behind. I blew up a huge cache in a cave. Probably left the entire mountain above it. As Naruto Chuck remembered the whole thing, blowing stuff up always soothed his soul. I tried to find the head honcho of the group, tried to find who organized the whole thing, but I didn't find anyone there. So he might be in some other place being an asshole. Sometime I wonder why do I let Morgan near you, said Tony, realizing that Naruto was probably a dangerous, unstable person, the way he can so casually spoke about leveling an entire mountain. Wait, you have a kid? I know I'm not updated with the news, but I'm pretty sure the higher-ups would talk about the lead weapon manufacturer having a kid, said Frank, as Tony realized the slip-up. As he sighed, Morgan, my daughter. You named your daughter Morgan, said Frank. It came to me in a dream, sue me, said Tony. Anyway, Pepper and I don't want anyone knowing about her for reasons like this. Well, I still think it's too much though, said Naruto, piping in. Know that she's growing up now. After all, how can she develop social skills if you keep her confined too long? Besides, just ask me to look after her, and nothing serious will happen to her. I love the kid too much to let anything happen to her, more than a boo-boo, said Naruto. Oh yeah, said Naruto as he reached behind him. I forgot to give you this stuff, as he pulled out something and tossed it in front of the group. Thought you might need those camping gear. As Frank opened the thing, there was 3 sleeping bags, canteens, fire starter kits, and many more. Tony had to walk up as he looked behind Naruto. As he checked, there was nothing there, as he gave my inquisitive look, as he still can't figure out how the hell he does that, as Naruto merely grinned. Time skip, how are they, said Pepper, the moment Naruto walked down the staircase. She had been trying to distract herself, however she was still worried. Oh, last time I checked, sleeping, said Naruto, as he plopped down on the sofa. Morgan was too busy playing their blocks to rush Naruto like she always did. Frank took the first watch, followed by Instant and then Tony. They'll move at first light, he said. Aren't you supposed to watch over them or something, Pepper asked. There is no terrace in a 100-kilometer radius. Well, no living ones. His statement caused a chill to run down her spine. Why are we still allowing you to play with Morgan, she said, in a half-sarcastic tone. Because I'm awesome, by the way. I ran an idea by Tony a few hours ago. Thought I should ask you about it too, since it is about Morgan. What did you ask him, she said, as she was fully alert. A bodyguard job for Morgan, said Naruto. She looked perplexed at that. Morgan is entering her formative years. You can't expect her to live alone, without any contact with other kids. That is why I'm gonna be your bodyguard, when you low-key announce her and send her on play dates. Pepper thought about Naruto's offer indeed. Morgan is growing up quickly. Having her interact with other kids will only help in her development. The one thing that was holding the both of them back was level of shitstorm that would come for them. Being the richest man in the planet has its perks. Pristine and comfort are a few of them. But everything has a drawback. Ever since he was a kid, Tony was targeted by kidnapping, assassinations, sabotage, and a bunch of other stuff. Going public with Morgan would shift all the alert from Tony to Morgan. However, they did not want to rob her of a somewhat normal childhood, as Naruto offer might be the solution. Pepper has never seen Naruto in action, however. From the snippets that she got, she knew that Naruto was a weird guy. From what she surmised, he was a fighting powerhouse that could take out the entire platoon of Navy SEALs, armed or unarmed. He can get in and out of everywhere with that teleportation ability he used. Not to mention he had a bottomless pocket where he can just pull things out of any time. And his super spy girlfriend that meant he had a connection to a secret agency. A superhuman that could protect their baby. Yeah, it was sounding like a good idea. What did Tony say, said Pepper, wanting to make sure that you're both on the same side. Well, I didn't really receive a solid answer, said Naruto. You two should probably talk it over when your eyes. Jarvis spoke up next. There's an agent, Phil Coulson, at the front gate, Miss Potts. He would like to talk to you about Stark. Should I let him in? Pepper was perked up hearing that. About Tony not so kidnapping situation. And Naruto almost forgot about Phil. As Naruto quickly hoists Morgan up, she finally noticed him as she started squealing happiness. I'll bring Morgan to her room while you deal with the spooks, said Naruto. And a word of advice. Follow your gut about the Coulson guy. He said mysteriously before he walked away. Pepper was left to ponder about Naruto's statement. Jarvis, let the agent in. And find everything you can about this Phil Coulson and send it to my phone. Of course, Miss Potts, said Jarvis, as Naruto had cleaned away all evidence of Morgan. A few minutes later there was a knock. As Pepper moved towards the door and opened it, he looked like an average man in a suit. Virginia Potts, Phil asked to make sure. As Pepper nodded, he pulled out his badge and ID and showed it to her. I'm Agent Coulson of Strategic, Homeland Enforcement, and Logistic Division, or for short, SHIELD. Never heard of it before. As Tony's personal assistant, she had heard about every agent out there. However, this agency was never one she heard about before. That's the way we like it, he said, with a trademark smile. May I come in? Sure. We can talk in the living room. As he sat down when she gestured for him to do so, as she sat at the other end of the sofa. So what does an unknown organization want with me? Or more importantly, my boss? Phil had to chuckle at her questioning. She wasn't afraid to speak her mind, and she was confident enough to take control of the whole conversation. It must be true that redheads had fiery personalities, as he based it on his interaction with Natasha and Pepper. SHIELD has a particular interest in Mr. Stark. I can't get into that because it's top secret, but our organization has his safety and well-being at one of our top priorities, said Phil. Although we still need to protect the country's national security. We need to know if there's any chance that Mr. Stark might sell out the country for his safety. He ended with a serious tone. Pepper started to laugh after hearing this statement, confusing Phil. Tony bowing no to anyone, that's just not gonna happen. Even if the whole world's at stake, he will just say screw it all and do his own thing. I hate to say it, but Tony will remain an asshole even if he's looking down the barrel of a gun. She finished with one last chuckle, as Phil compiled the details that he got from Stain and no Potts. Tony seemed to be a narcissistic, arrogant individual. Are there any details you can tell me to help with Mr. Stark's case? Any detail at all, said Phil. Nothing really, said Pepper, as she didn't want to burn Naruto's cover. One of the reasons for taking Tony back to that desert was because Naruto didn't want anyone to know about him, especially his unique abilities. Although it's weird, for only Tony and a tech to be allowed in the demonstration, none of his security detail was given a green light to go with him. Yes, that is some troubling news. We'll have to look into some high-profile VPs. Tell me, do you know who the technician is, said Phil, as he looked for any sign of deceit in her body language. As Pepper did not show any signs of deceit, as she did not panic. Yeah, Tony has been talking about a new technician that has a military background. He has been keeping it hush-hush, but he sometimes divulges some information accidentally. I know for sure that his name is either Frank or Francis. As Phil could not see any signs of distress on her, she was so calm about it. Anyway, that's all I'm here for. Expect a quick response from our part. We have already sent a team to look for Mr. Stark. As he made his way towards the door, Miss Potts will contact you once again if there's any progress on Mr. Stark's case. As he walked towards his SUV, oh, word of advice for the future. There's a baby bottle under the center table. You should check under the furniture if you have any unwanted guests in the future. As he got in his car and drive away, leaving that stunned Pepper. Damn, what a power move. I didn't know Phil had it in him. Pepper turned as she saw Naruto, with Morgan in his arms. You know him, she said. Oh yeah, he's a friend of mine. As he saw a disbelieving look on her face. Where do you think my girlfriend works? He's one of her close friends. Pepper locked the door, and you never thought to mention it. I can't talk about it. Besides, it's not like I'm an employee of SHIELD. And also, where's the fun if you guys already know about it, said Naruto with a chuckle. Pepper groaned. Of course he would do this if the situation wasn't any real threat. He would keep it to himself. Is there anything else I should know about? Yep, said Naruto. But you're not gonna tell me, are you? Yep, said Naruto. But I'll say one thing this time. Phil left this thing between the couches, said Naruto as he pulled out something from his pocket. This looked to be a SHIELD remoted hacking tool. It's not gonna pass Jarvis' firewall, but better safe than sorry. I don't trust everyone in SHIELD, said Naruto. Tell me, how long does SHIELD know about Morgan? About a year or 2 years now, I guess. And before you ask, they're not sure if I'm staying here, but they have their suspicions, said Naruto with a shrug. Everything is a joke to you, isn't it, she said, with a groan. Time skip. A couple days had passed. in Afghanistan. As Clint was in a helicopter, as they were moving towards a fire that was burning hotter as they got closer. As Clint saw the Stark here with two other people, he recognized Frank Castle, however he didn't recognize the other guy. As Rhodey and a pair of crew members jumped out of the helicopter once he got closer as well. "Hey Rhodey, what took you so long?" said Tony. Time skip. Tony, Yinsen and Frank were put through a batter of tests once they were rescued. The doctors were nervous about the electromagnetic in Tony's chest. Good thing Rhodey helped out a lot by getting the interview pushed back. The general was really accommodating, as Tony had managed to convince Yinsen to work for him, even if it was for a short time. They spent a few days in the desert. They got to know a bit about each other, even if they didn't want to talk about themselves. Even Frank revealed some detail about himself that was not in his files. However, Yinsen's story was really eye-opening. He was from the small town of Gomera, Afghanistan. His family had been massacred during the 10-ring attack that led him to be captured. He made peace that he would die and join his family. However, Naruto's unexpected abilities gave him a chance to leave that cave unscathed. Even after everything, Tony had to convince Yinsen to get on a chopper and not wander in the desert for who knows how long, as the private jet started to move towards the runway. "So, now that we're finally in private, how did you guys really get out?" Rhodey asked. The story that Tony kept on telling everyone was just too far-fetched to be real. "Like I told you, I was wearing a suit of armor, and I fought our way out of there. I then used the armor as a flare once we got some distance away from the cave." Rhodey once again was left sitting dumbfounded. "You know," said Frank, "this story is a lot more impossible if you hear the whole thing. It's better if you heard this shorter version." "You will just have to ask Whiskers if you want to know everything," Tony said. "Whiskers?" "Whiskers is Naruto. He's like the only person that we know that has whiskers." "Naruto? What the hell does Naruto have to do with this?" said Rhodey. "Well, for one, he warned us about terrorists, and he also volunteered Frank here for extra protection. As for the rest, you can ask Naruto yourself." "I guess I'll have to ask him for myself then." "A good thing you got out of the cave though before it collapsed. We didn't actually see anything. We just wanted to get as far away as possible." "You should have seen what happened," said Rhodey as he pulled out his phone. As he scrolled through until he found the photo, the small hill and the cave system collapsed into a 1-kilometer wide cave. The whole thing is filled with debris and boulders. The military had no choice but to send the engineer corps to sift through the mess. The trio couldn't believe what they were seeing. They knew that Naruto collapsed cave system, however, this was the first time they were actually seeing the damage. Yinsen couldn't help but feel happy to see the decimation of the terrorist cell known as 10 Rings. Well, at least a part of it. Time skip. "About time you got back," said Pepper, as she greeted Tony after he got out of the plane. Behind her was a black limousine and a black SUV. "Aw, you have tears in your eyes. I didn't know that you cared." Tony replied with a jesting tone. They could not greet each other how they wanted because someone might be listening or taking pictures. "These tears," said Pepper as she wiped away the tears that were forming at the corner of her eye. "These are tears of joy. I'm just glad I don't have to find a new job." She retorted with a smile before she turned towards Yinsen and Frank. "The SUV will take you to a fully stocked apartment in downtown LA. Help yourself to anything there." As they made their way towards the SUV, as Tony and Pepper got into the limousine. Once they got in, he asked, "How's Morgan?" "Morgan's fine, she just missed you a lot. Good thing that Naruto keep on distracting her." "Did you know that Naruto's girlfriend is from S.H.I.E.L.D.? "What the hell is S.H.I.E.L.D.?" said Tony. "A secret US base. International spy agency. One of their agents came to the mansion to ask if you would ever betray the country." "What did you say?" "Well, that you're too much of an asshole to ever give in to any demands," said Pepper. Tony had to laugh hard at that, as the divider of limousine rolled down to reveal Happy was the driver. "She told you about the interview," Happy said, when he saw Tony laughing. "Yep," said Tony. "Hey, let's buy some cheeseburgers before going to the press conference." "You got it, boss," said Happy. Tony turned towards Pepper and gave her a questioning look. "You're not gonna tell me to not get any cheeseburgers?" "Nope," she said. "Well, that's new," said Tony. As he backtracked a bit, an agent also came to Afghanistan. Rhodey could not figure out which agency he come from, but he's probably from S.H.I.E.L.D. Exactly, Agent Coulson, the guy that came by the mansion, said that they were sending someone to work your case. Would you look at that? I thought that agent was just one of Naruto's friends. He might still be Naruto's friend since Agent Coulson is definitely one of them. What the hell, said Tony. Just how many people does Naruto know? As Pepper decided to tackle the issue about Naruto And Morgan. I heard Naruto ask you about Morgan. What do you think of his offer? As Tony turned more serious as he looked towards her. He's been mulling things over for a while now. To be honest, I'm all for it, said Tony. No matter how impossible it is, Naruto might be a super soldier just like Captain. He also had these weird powers that I still can't figure out that sometimes let me lose sleep. The only drawback that tends to get a bit worrisome that Naruto go overboard sometimes. And his mental state as well. Pepper released a sigh as they came towards the same conclusion. Well, if he's gonna work for us in any capacity, he needs to tell us who or what he is. And what the hell is Shield? As Tony agreed. You know that we should have probably asked him all of that before we let him stay in the house. As Pepper just stared at him. He was right. Time skip. A good cheeseburger could make anyone happier as Tony made his way. As soon as he walked past the front door, he was assaulted by journalists and camera flashes. A security detail moved forward to control the crowd as he took the bag of cheeseburgers from Happy as he already ate 2 of them. As he moved towards the podium. Hello, mic test. 1, 2, 3. Tony said to the microphone. This just will not do, he said, as he took the mic and walked toward the stage and sat down. Before he pulled out a cheeseburger in his left hand. So he said, who's first? Almost everyone was raising their hands. As Tony pointed towards a blonde journalist that was wearing a skimpy outfit. It looked like his Playboy's days were not totally gone, and Pepper noticed that. Christine Everhart, WHIH, World News. There are some reports that the military did not actually rescue you from your captors. Is there any truth to these rumors? As Christine was here to try to seduce the Stark billionaire, there was rumors that the Stark hasn't been biting any babes for at least 3 years now. She was here to test that rumor. The easiest way to rise to the ranks was to get an exclusive in any way possible, even using her body to do it. No comment, said Tony. The military was quickly telling him not to release any detail about this, as he wouldn't be the only one that would be on the front chopping block. In a completely unrelative note, the guys in the background should increase their intelligence gathering if it took them 3 days to find a kilometer-wide crater. But of course Tony was not gonna keep everything to himself, as Pepper sighed at that. Christine was not expecting to be dismissed so easily, as he pointed to another man. It is said that you were rescued alongside 2 other individuals. Can you tell us about these individuals? Oh come on, can't anyone ask a question that I can actually answer? It's like you guys actually don't want to write anything. Just bug the Pentagon if you want any answers, as he got back to his feet. Let me give you guys something to write about. All of them went silent, as Pepper got a bad feeling. Do you know what he's gonna say? Stain suddenly asked him beside her, slightly surprising Pepper. No, I have no idea. Let's just hope it's not too big of an announcement, said Stain as he was controlling himself. All of his plans are crumbling before his eyes. There's only one last plan that might work, and he has no physical control over it. Tony needs to shake the trust of the board of directors. As Phil was there though, listening in. Man, I might have only been gone for a week, but I really miss cheeseburgers, said Tony. His statement caused some of the journalists to laugh. Anyway, as the CEO of Stark Industries, I'm suspending the manufacturing weapon department. Under Stark Industries, all existing contacts will be put on hold. Stark Industries will do an audit on all transfer. Going back 15 years, I want to see all of the mess-ups that happened. So well, isn't that exciting, he said. The reporters are left speechless. Stain was shocked. Happy, all of them were shocked. The reporters started to fire their questions at him. I'll head back to the office. We need to get ahead of this before it blows out of proportion, Stain said. He might not be able to hide it for long enough, however. He just might have enough time to take over the company. You two make sure to change Tony's mind or he might break the company. Pepper watched him as he leave. She has been monitoring the stock sales since she had looked it over when Naruto investments came in the company. As the way things were going, it seemed like a setup for a takeover, and there was only one person that would benefit so much from it. However, she was cut off when Tony spoke up again. That's all the time I have. I still need to get home to my family. As everyone went silent at that. Excuse me, not to be crass, said Christine. But what family? Tony walked with the microphone as he made his way towards the back where Pepper was with Happy. As he took out something out of the bag with the cheeseburgers. My daughter and fiancé. as he opened the ring box in front of Pepper, or my soon-to-be fiancé, if she says yes. But guys, be and subscribe right here. If you want to see next part and do, like, subscribe, comment down below, and turn on the bell notifications to stay posted. Remember to share to all of your friends in your social media platform. And also guys, don't forget to go ahead and check out the brand new series over Anime King, the Anime King 3 and Anime Prince. Links will be down in the description, so go ahead, check them out, and yeah, enjoy. And remember, if you're new, go ahead and destroy that red subscribe button, join the Anime King family, and yeah, comment down below and tell me if you're new. I'll be replying talking to all of you. So yeah, without further ado, I'm off for now. See you guys soon. Peace.